Right, welcome back to another video on this channel. Manchester City have just beaten us by 4 goals to 0 at the Etihad Stadium in the FA Cup third round, and yeah, pretty much puts an end to our season by the Champions League. But can you really see us doing well in the Champions League? I most certainly can't, and I would not be surprised whatsoever if we get knocked out by Dortmund in the round of 16. And yeah, sorry if this video comes across as a little bit dreary, negative, pessimistic, or, you know, a little bit stern, because I feel like I needed to make this video for some time now. Obviously, it's one win in the last 9 games for Chelsea now, and that one win was against Bournemouth, so does it really count? Because Bournemouth are, in my opinion, the worst team in the Premier League by some way. And yeah, I just feel like I need to talk about this current situation at Chelsea, because it's really starting to get out of hand now, and to be honest, I think this has massive potential to outdo 2015-16, which was a dreary season if you witnessed that yourself. And yeah, I think this is definitely on course to beating that somehow, some way. And yeah, I just want to talk about in this video what's gone wrong for Chelsea, what I think that they should do between now and the end of the season. So first of all, how have we gotten ourselves into this situation in the first place? In my opinion, there's a number of reasons for it. I think the first one is down to poor recruitment. I mean, we must be the only football club in the history of the fucking sport to spend £250 million in the summer and get worse. I mean, it's just absolutely laughable, really. We spent £60 million on a fullback who can't defend and 50% of the time can't make a 6-yard pass. We spent £30 million on a centre-back who just hasn't adjusted whatsoever to the Premier League. We spent £70 million on another centre-back who's made of glass. We've spent, I think, £10 million on a striker who genuinely looks like he wants to die playing for us. And yeah, just over the years, I mean, if you look at our most, 10 or 15 most expensive signings in the history of the Chelsea Football Club, you'll be lucky to even pick out 2 or 3 that were actually worth it. And yeah, the recruitment at this club in comparison to other clubs has been absolutely horrendous. We're going through that spell where Arsenal were like that, Man United were like that, and still to a certain extent are like that, but both those clubs are, starting to come out of it. We're getting into our banter era, in my personal opinion. I think we've been in our banter era now for about a year, so Chelsea fans, sit comfy. I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better, to be honest. Not to be pessimistic, but that's just honestly how I feel at this moment in time. I know it's easy to say after the run we've been on, but genuinely I think that we're not going to be out of this for quite some time now, to be honest. And then as well, I think it could be down to a lack of direction from the top as well. I think Todd Bowley's come in and he's put money where his mouth is. I think he's definitely showed that he's willing to spend money and willing to spend on the club and on the squad. And yeah, obviously we've got a completely new board in terms of recruitment. Director of football Christopher Favelli, who's in there. We've got Joe Shields from Southampton, and we've got a few more names as well on the board. So will they be able to change it? Only time will tell. But I wouldn't be too optimistic whatsoever given our track record, even though I cut them a little bit of slack because most of those players were signed in the Abramovich era. But yeah, I think simply put, we've just got too many average players, too many players who are just inconsistent, have their good days, but most of the time have their bad days. If you look at the likes of Havertz, who's had his good days but has been mostly inconsistent. I think Mason Mount's turning into that player as well, even though I think he is a player of quality on his day. He doesn't show it enough, in my opinion. Ziyech is like that. Pulisic is like that. We've just got too many players who, in my personal opinion, are just average and are just too inconsistent. And yeah, we're in a massive transitional phase. We find ourselves in a massive transitional phase with a new manager, a new owner, a new board, a good few new players, some new young players coming in like Andre Santos and David Datro Fofana, who came off the bench today. And first of all, I just want to say that I know Graham Potter isn't completely blameless because obviously he's the one that sets up the team, but I don't understand why Chelsea fans are so harsh on him, to be honest. I think that we need to back the guy. I think that we need to give him time. We need to be fair to him, because if you look at this, right, and first of all, I will say that there's no guarantee, I don't think anyway, that Graham Potter is 100% nailed on to succeed here, but I'm just going to say, at least give him the fucking tools. At least be fair to the guy. At least don't set him up to fail like we've done at this moment in time. He's come into a team with no pre-season. He's come into a team that are full of average players. In my opinion, we have 3 good players that are good enough at this moment in time and perform at a consistent level week in, week out. Reece James, Thiago Silva, Mateo Kovacic. I think they're the only 3 players we have that are, first of all, consistent, and second of all, with their consistency, are good enough to play for the football club. Graham Potter's come in this time with a lot of injuries to Reece James, to Ben Chilwell, Wesley Fofana, N'Golo Kante. Now Sterling's injured, Pulisic's injured, Mount was injured for a bit. I mean, he's not been able to field his best team at all since he's come in, really. And then as well, if you look at it, we have no midfield. We've got probably the most imbalanced midfield in the Premier League. Jorginho's not a proper DM. I think he's good in certain senses in terms of keeping the ball and, maintaining a tempo for a game and dictating a tempo for a game, but he's not a holding midfielder. Kante's always injured. Zakaria came in on loan because he wasn't good enough for Juventus, and granted, he is playing well at the moment. Kovacic isn't a DM either, so we need a number 6 in there if we're going to succeed. And at the same time as well, the most crucial point in, support of Graham Potter, He's taken over a team that are completely trying to readjust to a system which is completely and utterly different to the way Thomas Tuchel had us set up. I mean, if you look at his time at Brighton, it did take him quite a while to actually implement that system into Brighton, and look, they reaped the benefits. You know, they finished in their highest ever Premier League finish of all time last season. He had them in the top 4 this season, Brighton, when he left for Chelsea, so it's clear to see that Potter is a manager that you need to trust the process with, just like Arsenal did with Mikel Arteta, and look what's happening to them now. I'm not saying that Graham Potter is going to win a Premier League title for us if we back him for 5 or 6 years, but I'm just saying at least give the guy the tools, at least give him time, and at least don't set him up to fail. And yeah, what do we do between now and the end of the season? I mean, the season's completely done in my opinion. I think that we'd be absolutely blessed to finish any higher than 7th place in the Premier League. I think obviously we're out of the FA Cup, we're out of the Carabao Cup, and yeah, we have Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League round of 16. I can't see us getting past anywhere near the quarterfinals, to be honest, if I'm being perfectly honest. So in my opinion, I just think for the rest of the Premier League season, give the young guys a chance, but not too much in the fact that we're going to have to rely on them, because I think that's a dangerous road to go down, and I think that could maybe, you know, be to the detriment of those young players. But I'm talking about Lewis Hall has to be starting over Cucurella. I think Lewis Hall, in the minimal games he's played so far for Chelsea this season, has shown 10 times what Marc Cucurella has shown in the Chelsea shirt. I think Chukwuemeka needs to start. I think he's been very good. I think he needs to play a good bit. Denis Zakaria and Mateo Kovacic should be the first choice pivot in especially all the big games, really, and I think they need to be playing in the pivot as much as possible, because I think they offer the best balance we have at disposable at the football club at this moment in time. I think Badiashile, who's come in, needs to play a lot alongside Thiago Silva till the end of the season, so he can learn off him, you know, just be a sponge of information, and just improve himself as a centre back this season, make those mistakes, and go into next season stronger. I mean, I think as Chelsea fans, we're just gonna have to accept that this season's a complete write-off. It's gonna be painful, it's gonna be dreary. We have absolutely all going forward up front in terms of goals. We have all creativity. We're just going to have to accept that. We're going to have to get over it, and we're just going to have to suffer throughout this season. And then we're going to have to rebuild in the summer. We've got Nkunku coming in, who's a good signing in my opinion, but no one our luck would flop here. And in the summer, we need to get a holding midfielder. We need to get cover for Reece James. We need to get an attacking midfielder who's creative and is consistent, like someone like James Maddison, just as an example. We need to get a striker who can score goals. We need to get a goalkeeper who's very good in the ball and obviously is able to save shots as well. And we need to just give Potter time, give him pre-season, and obviously if it doesn't work after that, then fair enough, the experiment we can say didn't work. But I just think that it's so unfair, given the circumstances that Graham Potter is, working with at this moment in time, to just completely write him off. And then what do we do if we sack him? Probably get Luis Enrique. Don't think he does that much better, to be honest, with this set of players. Maybe he does. Maybe he squeezes us into the top 6. Whoop-de-doo. Maybe he gets us to the quarterfinal of the Champions League. Again, whoop-de-doo. It'll just be the same cycle over and over again. I mean, how many years now have Chelsea fans been fucking screaming and kicking for a project? And now once we get a project manager that's proven at Brighton that he can be very good, we're just going to give up on him after what? Like 10 games, 15 games? It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, and it just shows that we're still stuck in this old regime as Chelsea fans. And yeah, in the summer as well, I think it's another job to get rid of as much deadwood as possible. I mean, I'm going to go through the squad. I think Mendy has to go. I think that even though he had that year where, in my opinion, he was absolutely unbelievable, I think there was a spell where he's the best keeper in the world, but he's fallen off a cliff and he's not trustworthy enough on the ball. I think Kepa could stay as the backup goalkeeper. I think he's done alright this season so far, Kepa, but if not, if he doesn't want to be on the bench, I think he has to go. I keep faith with Cucurella a little bit, simply because of the fact that we can't really just give up on him after, he's only been at the club for 6 months or whatever, because we've spent so much money on him. I think that's probably our fault, but I think we have to keep him for that reason. Koulibaly maybe could be a squad player, but if he was to leave, I wouldn't complain whatsoever. I think Azpilicueta's probably got to go, even though he's one of the only leaders we have in the squad. I think he's 100% finished. I think Jorginho's got to go, even though I like Jorginho, and I think, as I said, he offers us certain parts of his game that are good, but I just think that we need to move him on now and get a proper holding midfielder who can defend properly. I think we've got to just move on Gallagher and take the money for him, if I'm honest, because even though I think he's a young player, obviously I like him because he's come through the academy, but I just think his technical ability isn't up to the standard of what we want at Chelsea, in that midfield especially. I think he offers us some good traits in terms of his energy, but I just don't think his technical ability whatsoever is cut out to the top level of football. I think we need to cut our losses on Loftus-Cheek. I think that at this moment in time, it doesn't look like he's going to rediscover the form he was, having a few years ago. I think maybe Pulisic's got to go, but I'd keep him as a squad player. I think we've got to cut our losses on Ziyech. We've got to get rid of fucking Aubameyang. He just does not want to be there. I'd cut my losses on him even in January, to be honest. I keep faith in Raheem Sterling as of now, because I just think that if you get a few creative players, or 1 or 2 creative players in there, I think that Sterling could maybe thrive and could, rediscover his form at City. But yeah, I think I'll bring this mini rant to an end now. I think I've waffled on for long enough now. Apologies if that was just a load of shit. a load of shite spewed all over your screen. But let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. If you're a Chelsea fan or even not a Chelsea fan, let me know what you think should be done in order to fix Chelsea at this moment in time, because I think we've got some dark days ahead of us this season, especially, boys. I think it's going to be a long, dreary season, and we're just going to have to suck it up really and hope that next season's a bit better. But yeah, anyway, enough of the waffle. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. It helps me massively in terms of growing this channel. Also subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are looking to hit 1,800 subscribers as soon as we possibly can. And yeah, the pain continues, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So yeah, up Chelsea.